Hola amigos, welcome back to Sonnie's Place, and today you're in for a special treat. We're actually in a very cool urban farm here in mid-Missouri, and I wanted to take you on a little tour today. So let's go. So today we're actually at a local urban farm that is run and managed by the Columbia Center of Urban Agriculture, and they're here in Columbia, Missouri, and the farm that we're actually at is called the Veterans Urban Farm. And Billy today from CCUA is going to take us on a little tour and tell us a little bit more about what this urban farm does.
This is CCUA's Veterans Urban Farm. We started working here 10 years ago, and it was just the urban farm then, but this year we started a partnership with the Truman VA to serve veterans from this site. It is 1.3 acres and right here at the corner of Smith and College Avenue in Columbia. Let's take a walk.
Sure.
You can see that we've been harvesting a lot of lettuce. You can see the carnage. We grow here on permanent beds, so we use a no-till type of gardening here, so we don't till these beds and they're in the same spot every year. So we use cover crops and we use mulching and a lot of hand weeding to do this, but it produces great results and we grow lots and lots of food here. Last year we produced about 19,000 pounds of food from this site here, and we're really just growing on about a half an acre of the space that's here at the farm. We practice organic gardening here, so you can see this is some of our pest control here with these insect netting. There's some bugs in there, so it's not 100%, but it's pretty effective. Especially this is some kale and kohlrabi we have here, and like the harlequin beetles can just ravage them. We like lots of flowers. You can see we've got flowers at the end of all the beds. We try to, not only is beautiful, but it supports pollinators and beneficial insects and adds some diversity. And I mean, you can see just these flowers right here. There's all sorts of flies and bees. We plant them in these bunches, so we start these from seed in the greenhouse and in soil blocks, and so we put a few seeds in each block, and we kind of grow them as bunches. So there's what, 4 or 5 in each cluster, and they can grow close together because we leave the space in between them for them to grow out. These are beets. So these are looking really good right now.
Yeah, they look really great. My beets didn't do so well, so I had to give up on them. I'll have to do them in the fall. But yeah.
So out here at the Veterans Urban Farm, we've started our veterans program this year, partnership with the Truman VA, and we're working at this point primarily with their transitional work program, which is essentially job training and getting veterans who receive, who are patients at the VA, getting them some extra job skills, helping them transition back into civilian life to be ready to enter the workforce. And so this is a great opportunity where those veterans can get paid for working, but they can also be working in a therapeutic environment and picking up skills in the field of agriculture or landscaping, even customer service. We're having our first market at the VA. We're going to be selling the produce in the hospital tomorrow. And so it's really exciting that we can offer that opportunity. Eventually, they'll be bringing some of their whole health programming out here, their healthy teaching kitchen, Tai Chi and yoga classes. The VA hospital here has tons of concrete and tons of indoor space, but not really any outdoor space. So this, in our partnership with them, they're going to be able to use this site for more than just the food and the job training, but to have a therapeutic outdoor space where different types of healing can happen. Got some carrots. Those are looking good too. Carrots grow really well here. The carrots don't grow well in all gardens, but whatever the magic of the soil is here, we've had really good success with growing carrots. Garden carrots are just, there's certain things that, like with fresh produce, where you really like tomatoes, like a fresh tomato from the garden is just one of those like magical things, and it really doesn't compare to like a store-bought tomato. And carrots are a lesser known, but more. It's just like that,
Oh, I agree.
They're so sweet, they're so tasty, they're not bitter. You don't realize like how good carrots can actually be. We have a lot of perennial crops that we're growing here. So along the whole perimeter, along the fence line, we have this little patch here, and then along the back. And a lot of these are to encourage pollinators and beneficial insects. We've got some coneflower, we've got some bronze fennel. These are just about to flower. The fig. In Missouri, if you want to grow figs, you essentially need to be cut down to the ground every winter, and then they regrow from there. You have to get the hardy figs.
Is there like a certain time do you do that like in December, or do you do that January, February?
Yeah, I would do that like in December, and then if you want, you can kind of cover it up real heavy with mulch, just to kind of protect it. Depends on where you have it too. Like at my old house, we had it right up against the house, and so there was some protection there. But if you have it out where the wind's blowing, and this winter we had some really cold days, and so covering it with some mulch is a good idea over the winter. Along the whole back of the property here, we have lots of native flowers and bushes. And again, this is just to encourage biodiversity, bringing in those pollinators, supporting the pollinators, supporting the carnivorous insects, giving them habitat is important for our pest control and our pollination here. We have some beehives as well. These are not our hives, CCUA's hives, but we have a couple local beekeepers who just kind of put their bees here. Strawberries, and there are fresh strawberries right now. So,
Yeah.
yep. So there's a bunch in here waiting to be harvested. You can have some if you'd like. These are Egyptian walking onions. You can see the little bulbs up here. You can see how they're kind of falling over. They grow these little bulbs on their flowers, and it weights them down, and then the bulb plants itself. Then that's how they walk. They sort of spread easily that way, and they're really fun. This is called cutting celery, and celery is a challenge to grow in Missouri because the weather isn't quite right for it. But cutting celery is great because it's sort of more leafy, and it has that celery flavor. If you just cut these branches, these leaves off and these branches, and you can put them in soups, or you can put them in things to give that celery flavor. But you don't get the stalks, you don't get the ribs. But this is what we found is the best way to grow celery in Missouri. You can't make ants on a log with it, but you can get that flavor, and it grows well in containers or pots, or just in the garden. I think there's 5 or 6 rows of this, and this was one of the first things we planted 10 years ago, and it's been pretty steady in giving us asparagus every spring. It's if you're trying to grow a lot of food, it's not the most space efficient crop, but you do get something really early, and fresh asparagus is pretty wonderful. Is mullet. Ooh, it's got a big bee on it. Toilet paper of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Our blackberries are all flowered out.
Yeah.
Turn around, this is our rain garden. So it's sort of at the lowest point on the property. And we also, all of our veggie washing, the water that we wash the veggies with is funneled down here. And so we have a lot of water-loving native plants here that, like I've said, give that good habitat and biodiversity for the good bugs. So these are just, it's kind of a hardening off area, but also sort of just a waiting to be storage area as well. For here and for our other programs at our other sites, so like at the agriculture park, where we will have a greenhouse later this year, but we don't right now. Our the school gardens we work with, and our Opportunity Gardens program, where we help families in their home gardens. So you know, the Kilgore's Community Garden, the garden at Lucky's. There's all sorts of different places that we take plants, and so we do purchase, especially the bigger plants like your tomatoes and peppers and stuff. We'll buy a lot of those just because they take a long time to grow up, and they take up a lot of space in the greenhouse. So when we buy our bulk orders of those, or just anything that we've grown that's waiting to either be planted here or at one of the other sites, just sort of lives here. We can walk through.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You can see we have a lot of tomatoes waiting to go out. Peppers. I think a lot of these are for here. Dustin was just saying that once all the lettuce is out, we'll be able to plant our hot crops. We really don't have any of our hot crops in here yet, but they'll be going in soon. We've got some Brandywine tomatoes, Prudence purple, some sun gold, some ground cherries.
Oh, nice.
Ground cherries are fun.
Mm-hmm.
German Johnson, more Brandywines. Brandywine is kind of like the most reliable heirloom. These are some of our soil blocks I was talking about. Do you know kind of how those go?
Yeah.
They're really awesome. They've changed a lot of how we've grown. So you get that head start and you get that extra protection, and when you're ready to plant them, you just break the cube off and you plant it right in the ground. So we make the soil blocking mix ourselves. We press the blocks with the blockers and plant the seeds in there, and you know, we can get a head start on things in the garden. So, you know, maybe while we're still growing lettuce, this, you know, if these squash are going to go in next, they can be ahead of the game before, and so you really kind of increase your production and your available growing space, and it helps with germination too. So if you have bad germination on your seeds, you can correct for that and make sure that your rows or your garden beds are planted as densely and as tightly as possible. You don't have big gaps from where things didn't germinate or grow. So thank you for following me around here at the Veterans Urban Farm, and we're really excited to show off this new program and to help veterans in our community, and to keep this urban farm site productive, and as CCUA moves to the agriculture park, our new big shiny adventure, that we can still keep this going and very purposeful, really helping people learn how to grow food, and we're just excited to be here on this beautiful June day. So Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the tour as much as I did. I'm going to go ahead and include some more information about CCUA and the Veterans Urban Farm in the description below, so be sure to check that out. In the meantime, let's keep growing, guys. I'm Emma from Sonnie's Place, encouraging you to grow your best life. Adios. Oh, and before you go, if you enjoyed this tour and would like to see more like it, please comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd really love to do more of these tours and show you guys what's going on here in the Mid-Missouri area and what folks are doing to learn to grow their own food and to feed our communities. So leave a comment below, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that and hit that like button. Thanks.